What's happening, chess fans? Welcome to Net Chess and Chill. Today is episode number 51 on my journey to 1200 ELO. So, if you guys have been following, we've been doing pretty well recently, so we're trying to keep the momentum going. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy today's game. So, let's get right into it. Let's see. Here we go. Get some tunes on. We are rated 1059, which is the highest I've ever been rated, so I'm very proud of myself. Hoping that we can, like I said, keep it up. So let's see who we're going to play today. Been having a lot of games with the white pieces, like significantly more games with the white pieces than black pieces. And I've also significantly been winning more games with the white pieces than my black pieces, which is kind of frustrating. We're playing with black right now, and we're getting a Caro Kann, which is right up my alley. I'm going to play c5. They don't take. We are going to develop this knight first. Okay, they don't come down for a pin, but we're going to pin their knight for sure. I think that's a good move as they decide where they want to put the bishop. I think this is also a square potentially as well. I'm used to this, I guess. I don't see this as too big of a new thing. Okay, so I'm going to take first here. Maybe taking the knight was better before I did that, because now I'm seeing that they can take with the knight. It's kind of obnoxious, but I'm okay trading bishops in that case. Yeah, and they can take back. Yeah, this just can't be that good. I'm gonna take I mean, he can take back with the knight, or he can take back with the queen. If he takes back with the queen, he defends this pawn, but I'm not gonna take that knight. I'm gonna actually continue developing. I'm gonna play e6 probably. Okay, so he does defend the pawn. I'm going to continue developing. Oh, he meant to castle. I know that's what he meant to do. That sucks, dude. I'm so sorry. That is not fun. That sucks. If he comes down to pin with the bishop, I can just move my queen. Pretty sure. This is a little different. Normally, I think I took back too soon. We'll go over it in the game review, but pretty sure I took back too soon. My opponent is rated quite a bit higher than me. He's from France, Xtro34. I didn't give him a shout out like he deserved at the beginning. So he's throwing pawns forward. He's probably kind of irritated, which I understand. I'm going to bring my knight over to here to attack the pawn, and I'm going to just develop and castle and try and be comfortable. Alright, I don't have any squares for my bishop that I can really go to without losing material, so this is what it is. Yeah, I figured he was going to take eventually. That's fine. Take back with the pawn. We'll castle next move. I could play a move like this to attack the pawn. He could also defend the pawn with the bishop. That might be what he's trying to do. If he does defend with the bishop, I might just take. I don't know. I don't know if I really want to open file on the G file or not. Probably not. My knight is playing a nice little defensive role right now. So he does kind of do that. I'm going to get castled and just play. Do I have anything crazy? I don't think I have anything really, right? He's defended this twice now. I'm going to castle. He didn't get to castle, so I feel like I have a slight advantage maybe just because of that. I could take this and open this up if I want to. I don't think it's a great way to go about things, but maybe it is. His king's not, like, unsafe at the moment. I'm not really threatening it, so. I could do something like this and try and trade off queens, maybe. I mean, I've had crazier ideas, you know? Let's see. What do we want to do here? Bring the rook to the open file, maybe. Bring the queen over to here to put pressure over here. I kind of like that. If I do this, he could drop his bishop back. I can drop my queen back and we can put more pressure on this. I mean, I could also take the bishop so that that's not even a problem. Take the bishop, he takes. I then come over to here. He brings the rook to this file, putting pressure on my pawn. It might be a little scary for me. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that going for a trade like this is not a terrible idea. So I think I will do that. Just kind of x-raying some pieces. We'll get maybe a trade out of this. I like my dark squared bishop. I probably shouldn't trade it, but I don't know. If he takes, so like, I mean, you know, if he takes, oh, okay. Now I think we can win this pawn unless he plays this. I guess he does have this move. In that case, I can come back. Maybe all the way back is better. Could also slide here. Few options. I kind of like this square if he does play the move f4. Okay, so he attacks my queen just kind of immediately. And he's defending the pawn. Okay. If I pin the queen, he can play a move like this. I don't have much from there. So perhaps I bring the queen back, and maybe we can kind of focus more this way. It's probably not the best move, but I have a rough time finding the best moves a lot of times, so. Okay. Connecting his rooks. Defending things. Not a bad plan, I don't think. Perhaps we bring the rook over to the open file. I want to bring my queen here kinda as well. And maybe start pushing this pawn. Maybe I bring my queen here to push the pawn. Also keeping pressure on this. And then my rooks are connected. Quite a few queen moves by me here. I could also maybe play this. If he takes, I take. Not too shabby. I'm going to bring my queen here, though, to keep pressure. Hold on. Do I want to come to b6 or do I want to move to c7? I kind of like c7 because it's keeping his pieces, like, tied down to it. So I'm going to do that. Protecting this pawn still. Maybe move my rook over to here. I don't know. We have ideas of doing things. Maybe push this pawn. Maybe just push this pawn. Bring this rook over to the c file. So he's coming down for an attack. I can defend with, or, you know, I can push h5 right now. So he's going to play h5. Do I want to play h5 myself? I don't know if I do. I mean, if he moves this knight, I don't have a way to defend the pawn from the queen. He doesn't have a dark squared bishop. I might be able to get away with playing h6. And I might just have to drop my knight back. This is probably not a good move, so we'll look at this in the review. But I'm not opposed to backing up. I don't see a huge issue with it. It seems like he's just going to keep throwing pawns forward, but I might be able to reroute this way and get some angular momentum. We'll see. We shall see. My pieces are kind of like stuck at home, so he's got some more active pieces than I do at the moment, that's for sure. I would like to start getting my rooks activated, so I'm thinking about a move like a5 to open things up. I'm thinking about a move like c5 to open things up. I'm thinking about maybe bringing this rook over to c7. I might want to keep this rook on the a file, but I might also want to bring one of these rooks to the b file. I need to pay attention to what my opponent wants. I have a tendency to forget what my opponent is trying to achieve sometimes, and it's kind of a pestering thing. So I'm gonna push this pawn. What do I got going on? If I do this, he takes, I take. Where's he trying to go? Trying to go here, trying to go here. I'm gonna push the pawn. If I push the pawn and he just goes here, he's trying to get into here. I can stop that. Could also bring this rook over to that file. I think this rook is fine on this file, and I'm just gonna do that to stop the knight from coming into here, and I'm thinking about pushing this pawn now. Hopefully, I mean, I guess if they push, it's kind of annoying. Okay, he throws his pawn forward. I can play a5. If he takes, I can take, and that opens up my rook. My queen is there, so. Could bring the queen here. It's a rather obnoxious move. I don't think it matters too much, though. If I take, he takes, I can take. So if I take, what is he going to take with? I'm going to push both the pawns. This probably is not the way to do this, guys, but I'm going to play c5. If he takes, I bring my queen in. Alright, so he attacks my queen, but so he's going to get to this square, which is rather annoying. So I'd imagine he jumps his knight into here, which again is an annoying move. I can play a move like this. I can also bring my knight over to here, but I don't know if I like that, taken with the pawn like that. I think I'd rather this and take with the rook. So this is a hanging pawn. Does he have any crazy moves right now? He's threatening to... What is he threatening to do? I'm just going to get rid of this knight. Actually, I need to be careful. If I do this, it cuts off my rooks. If I take this pawn, is it like poisoned or something? He brings a rook over. I'm kind of in a spot. If I bring this down here, so if I take, he takes, and then I do this, he can come down and pin my rook, which is kind of annoying, or my knight, which is rather annoying. I guess it's not really that big of a deal. Maybe it is. So if I take, he takes, I play this, he comes down, pinning the knight to the rook. My rook is defended by my king. I take this, take. I'm gonna go for it. To me, I don't know. It just seems like maybe not the worst thing in the world. This pawn is hanging. I'm looking at trying to win a pawn here now. I don't see. I guess the knight can come here. If the knight does come there, I can bring my queen up to win this pawn. He's gonna win this pawn if that happens. No, because my queen protects here. Complicated. Probably more complicated than it needs to be, but I'm excited. This is a fun game. It's making me think. So it's not the most interesting position I've ever had. I feel like I get into positions like this all the time and I don't know how to win them, but feeling pretty good. I might be missing something. There might be some crazy tactic that just works. Like, I still see that his queen can come into here. Yeah, so he goes for that. I'm not so worried about that. I'm gonna take the knight. I'm gonna take the rook. He takes. I'm taking the pawn back. This pawn definitely. Can't bring his queen in now. So I feel like I'm up a pawn now. I feel that felt pretty good. Queen endgames are not easy though. And my opponent kind of mouse slipped in the beginning, the castle, and I feel like he's getting some of his compensation back from all this. Maybe just a slight improving queen move. Maybe this to attack that pawn and keep an eye on that pawn. And also keep an eye on this square. This seems like a decent queen move. So he wants to come in. He's trying to attack me. So if I take this pawn, he plays like this. I move. He takes a pawn. I slide over and give another check, or a check like this. Or I could do this kind of right now. Discovery check on his king. Take the pawn and put... I mean, that might just be winning. Discovery check on his king. We'll take the pawn. Seems pretty beast mode. Think we should take with the pawn to be closer to promotion. We're going to do that. He's going to give this check on h8 and win this pawn. We're going to push and queen. queening. I don't know why he brought his queen back. Yeah, okay. Guys, rated 1068. This is the highest I have ever been rated. We are on a crazy winning streak. I've won like, I think I've won 8 games maybe, and I had a draw, so maybe 7 games in a draw. I mean, this is crazy. I'm learning, guys. I'm learning. Y'all been so nice and helpful in the comments, and I've been taking your advice. This game, I did not play the best game, however. 75.9% accuracy. My opponent played with 71.5. I had 2 misses, 1 mistake, and 2 inaccuracies. My opponent had 6 mistakes. So that's actually why he lost. He had 0 misses, 0 blunders, but quite a bit of mistakes. So let's see. It looks like it was a lot of... It looks like I was in favor for a lot of this game. Here at the beginning, he's doing really well. I kind of misplayed this. Yeah, so that's not the best move. The best move is to play e6 like normal and wait a minute. And I can take this, he takes, and then I can go for this capture. That's a lot better. So, yeah, I was a little overzealous with this. Took the bishop. He took with the queen. I think that is the best move. He could have also taken with the knight. I think taking with the queen is better because I don't immediately just win this pawn. So I played e6, best move, opening my bishop, also allowing me to start developing this guy, and we can put maybe double pressure on this. He mouse slipped here. I felt bad, so I know how it feels. I think he played an excellent game for not having meant to, like, he did not mean to do that. He meant to castle, but he accidentally dropped his king there. So I know that sucks, and I think this was a move based off of tilt. But he also might have seen I was in this position. I was thinking about my next move being something like this because I was assuming he was going to come down for a pin with the bishop. Even if he didn't, bringing my queen here would have been on my mind because I was thinking about taking on the very next move. So he pushed either out of being disgusted with himself or maybe seeing that I can't really do anything about it. The computer doesn't like that move, but I didn't know what to do about it, and these pawns sat here for a long time before I did do anything about it. So my knight coming to g6 was definitely not the right idea. Taking the knight is the best idea. I just didn't... I thought it was cool that this was detached from society, but he could always play f4, especially now that he's got to move his king out of the way to get the rook active. I mean... But I guess the thought is if he takes, it's back to like a normal advanced Caro-Kann situation where we don't have the bishops and this knight got traded off. Because a lot of times they pin my knight, take the knight, I pin their knight. I usually almost always take the knight, especially in the advance. I basically always do. So without the knights, without the bishops, and your pawn would be on d4 and e5, and it looks basically the same as the advanced as normal. And this knight can come over to c6 in that circumstance and put some pressure on this pawn. I could also come to these squares, but I do like coming to c6. It does like leave me a little bit without a defender on the side of the board, because I typically get attacked when I do move that knight to c6. So he does seem offside sometimes. So my bishop move was definitely a little bit inaccurate. This pawn was what I should have done first. I was just kind of like, oh, that's a weird move, and wasn't really paying attention. But the whole reason I moved the knight here was to take the pawn. And I have an opportunity right now to do so, and he takes the knight. So now I can't do it. The pawn gets to live here, basically, as long as the queen defends it or something defends it. So he brings the bishop. I castled. I think taking the bishop's probably okay. Playing a5 right away. I thought about this for a while. I wanted to open up these pawns. I just didn't act on any of my little impulses. I'm also trying to say concrete ideas as opposed to like saying 15,000 times a video. So I'm working on that actively. Taking the bishop would have been a move that I was thinking about. Also, I just decided to castle. I'm still winning. 2.6 advantage. They bring their knight over to d2. I then thought trading the bishops might be a good idea. I kind of realized that it wasn't that great of an idea because these pawns just are annoying, and my dark squared bishop is awesome. So if I was going to trade something, it would be nice to just take it with the knight. I think, now looking back. And I lost a lot of advantage playing that move. From 2.6 to 0.2. Still a little better, barely. So, he takes, I take. Pretty comfortable with this. I'm attacking the pawn. He then attacks my queen, moving his knight. Very normal move. I brought my queen back to... So, this was better. I figured there was probably something better. Getting my king in here or my queen in here is annoying. And I could even bring it in. Yeah, I mean, that just gets really annoying. I was trying to find something like that. I had my eyes set on like g4, but I didn't want to get trapped. I didn't want my opponent to play like this move. Like even in this position, they can play this and set up this move. And I'm running out of squares. I'd have to drop back, or yeah, I'd have to come here. So I'm scared of things like that. So I did not play that. I brought my queen back. I think it's not a bad move to bring your piece back if there just is nothing there. It's not the best move at all, for sure, but it's not a terrible move if you feel like you might be getting trapped or in danger. So moving their king up, connecting their rooks was a good move. I also thought that that was a decent move. It looked funny when I first saw it, but the king looks pretty safe there. He's connected everything. The rooks are connected now. He's defending everything. And this knight can start doing some spicy stuff if he wants to. He could probably move the queen now since I don't, I kept thinking he was going to play a move like a6, queen a6 for a while just to be a nuisance. Put pressure on this pawn and just get in my position. A lot of people do that. He never did, though. Instead, he played pushed that pawn. I think me playing h5 would have been fine here, but the problem is that my knight was blocking my quick defense with g6 of the pawn. Because after that, all he'd need to do is bring his knight here, and his queen would be attacking the h5 pawn. And I don't want his queen here and me to just lose the pawn. That seemed like a terrible idea. So the computer wants me to just keep these nice, sexy pawns just like so and move the knight back. This was a little heartbreaking for me because I really just kind of was hoping that I was going to be able to eventually win this pawn if they moved anything, but they never did. So we have to leave it. It lives there. Instead, I played h6. They played h5. I knew that was coming, so I moved the knight. Best move. I knew that was... I mean, I didn't really have any other squares either, but I would definitely have brought the knight back here just to reroute. They bring their knight in. I brought my rook over. I think playing... Yeah. Again, the move that I was thinking about ends up being the best move. But I thought, bring the rook over because I was a little worried of him just going for this first. It's not a bad thing because after this... So if I played this and he comes and gives me this, to attack my queen, I can actually just move my queen, I think, to c6. And all he can do is come here. He can't come here. He can't take that. He can't go back. He can come back here too. So yeah, these two squares would have been the only two squares you could really go to. And this one is annoying for sure, but I think I found a decent way to deal with it in the game. So this was not the best move. Not a bad move either. Playing c5 was stronger. I didn't like that he was doing all this, so I thought my move was fine. He attacks my queen. I bring the queen forward. He takes, I take. He brings the knight down. I decided to take here because if I didn't take first, I'm disconnecting my rooks and I'm just hanging a rook. So that's bad, right? So we didn't do that. We took first. He brings over. So we lost control of the file to trade off this knight and win a pawn. So this was even deemed inaccurate by the computer. taking this pawn was far better. I knew that I could do that. I kind of had a plan. I didn't want this knight here. I don't want any problems. No problems, guys. So I decided to do this and trade off the knight. Didn't think it was a bad move. This was definitely a mistake by him. I already thought about this because no matter what I'm taking, because my king is defending my rook and I'm down for the endgame. Especially being up a little, or a pawn. And I could have been up 2 pawns had I been a little bit smarter about this, maybe. Potentially. I don't know. Could have waited, maybe, for it. But I think I did a decent job. This was what I thought was a good move. Defending all these things. I thought that Queen A6 was definitely a possible threat, but he kind of had a different idea. He wanted to bring his queen in this way. Not a good move. I didn't think it was either. I mean, it just hangs a pawn 1. And I'm just cooking. So I thought about this and gave a discovery check, which ended up being a fantastic move. Glad I saw it. Could have just taken with the queen, but he moves his king. This is mate 9 here. I took with the pawn, which is inaccurate. I could just go for checkmate, and I think there's a pawn checkmate, probably. There's something here that I can do. But I played it way safer. This is still completely winning for black, and I'm 2 squares away from queening. So I figured he was going to play the move h8. He did. I moved the king, basically the only move I can do. He takes the pawn. I just push the pawn. This is still a missed opportunity. So it's mate in 10. Mate is great. I don't see mate in 10s. I'll tell you that right now. That's not usually what I'm seeing. I see that that's dangerous for the king. But I don't know if I can play all the right moves. To me, this is just killer. And I think that as far as my level is concerned, I should just be pushing this pawn when this happens. He brought the queen all the way forward. I pushed and queened, and he resigned. I mean, he didn't really have anything to do. Take the queen, I take, and then I start winning everything. So, yeah, fun game. Rated 1068. I cannot say that enough. I'm super excited. We are so close to 1100. It's awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Played like a 1200. My opponent played like an 1100. We had blue, green, and question mark end game. So like we played fantastic opening, great or best middle game, and we both were a little bit I mean, I had 38.9% accuracy in the end game. My opponent had 34.9 in the end game. So our end game was terrible. But I think we've been doing well in our openings. I mean, I've been getting 99% accuracies in a lot of my openings, so doing pretty well. We haven't been blundering as often. I know yesterday's video I blundered, but that was after my opponent blundered, so then we were kind of equal, and then he lost, or we won on time because my opponent lost on time. So if you haven't seen that video, go check it out. It's pretty fun. Whew. If you guys made it this far in the video, I appreciate you. You're awesome. You're one of a kind. You're my favorite guys or gals. So actually, I've noticed that 99% of my viewers are male. So pretty interesting. Yeah, we're moving on up in the world. Hope you guys enjoyed today's game. We're going to be right back here tomorrow. Same time, same place. See you then.